am intrigued by the whole Sean Payton thing because we love, and I'm not trying to slight Sean Payton at all. Like, very bright offensive mind. Obviously, what he did in New Orleans, won a Super Bowl. But, like, we talk about Sean Payton like he's this absolute quarterback whisperer and that he can do no wrong. He had Drew Brees. Last time I checked, Drew Brees, really, really good. What else has Sean Payton done that leads anyone to believe that he is a quarterback whisperer? I'd make the argument that this, I mean, because clearly this is his pick by getting Bo Nix. Sean Payton's legacy to some extent is now tied to Bo Nix. If Bo Nix is successful, Sean Payton really cements himself as one of the all-time greats. If he doesn't, and this doesn't work out, and 4 years down the road, Nix is out of the league, Sean Payton's probably fired. I think we view Sean Payton very, very differently. So there is a lot on the line here for both of these guys.
Well, and he's all in. Did you see Adam Schefter's tweet about the Bo Nix pick? It was weird.
What did he say?
It was an all-timer. Schefter tweeted that Sean Payton last fell in love with the quarterback when it was Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs traded up with the Bills just ahead of him, and they got Marshawn Lattimore instead. He said he was just, after going through the draft process, he is every bit as confident in Bo Nix as he was in Patrick Mahomes. When you tie yourself like that and say something like that, that guy better work out. Because there are a lot of folks who thinks tools-wise, as great as cerebral as Bo Nix is, if we're just talking pure tools, he's the least toolsy quarterback that was taken in the first round. So he better be great.
Well, in defense of Sean Payton, hasn't he, I mean, besides last year in Denver, has he worked with another quarterback?
Well, I mean, he was in Philadelphia for a bunch of years. He wasn't retained by Andy Reid, but he was in Philly, and then he was with the Giants.
So he worked with McNabb?
Yeah, he would have worked with McNabb. And then he was in the Giants for a brief stint, and then he was in Dallas, but that was like Quincy Carter and Vinny Testaverde, Drew Bledsoe a little bit. And then, obviously, he lands the head job with the Saints.
But he didn't have another quarterback in New Orleans, did he? Were there any years that he didn't have Drew Brees?
No, I think he was Drew Brees the
whole
time.
Well, he stayed after Brees retired, though. So he had Winston and
those guys.
And he got some good. He actually got some decent years out of Winston. Winston wasn't a superstar, but he got some decent years out of him.
I mean, I don't know.
Again, I talked about this yesterday, where people decide, well, he has a type, and it's like, well, he had Drew Brees, so yeah, that's his type, but. Did he have just Drew Brees for 15 years, and so we think that's a type?
Right.
Or does he really prefer, and it turns out Sean Payton really does prefer, like, the cerebral, that toolsy, check-down quarterback.
Well, I mean, you're always going to, as a head coach, want to do it the way that you had success with previously, right? Like, that's how you know. So he probably does – I mean, his next quarterback doesn't have to be Drew Brees, but he wants Drew Brees-like qualities because he knows that works. He saw that work.
Well, so he was with Drew Brees. Drew Brees left in 2020, so we had 1 year that would have been Winston.
And 1 year, and then he bailed.
And they went 9-8, and then he bailed, and then he comes back in Denver in his first year after taking the break, and 8-9, and obviously that wasn't great, and they moved on for Russell Wilson. So again, throwing no shade at Sean Payton. But Sean Payton in New Orleans was good. But there were some years there. Remember when they were in salary cap hell? There was a stretch there where they went 7-9 3 straight years. And then they kind of turned over the roster a little bit, and Brees had a resurgence. Remember, for a while we thought Brees was cooked. And then, they had the awful playoff, pass interference non-call.
Well, didn't they get in trouble too for the
Spygate, or not Spygate, but Bountygate.
Bountygate, yeah.
So
Greg Williams.
Yeah. So look, Sean Payton, you win a Super Bowl, and he's a very, very bright offensive mind. I just think sometimes we did this with like Bill O'Brien. Like, oh, Bill O'Brien, the quarterback whisperer. Why? Because he worked with Tom Brady. I think Sean Payton has more to prove than anyone is saying.
Well,
and so it's like this, well, Bo Nix couldn't go to a better situation. I'm not certain, because Denver is going through a total teardown rebuild. You look at what they let go, right? They got rid of Jerry Jeudy, right? They didn't make any effort to re-sign Cushenberry. Garrett Bowles people think this is his last year. They let go of Simmons, their best defensive player. They don't really have, Cortland Sutton or Sutton is their best wide receiver.
They're talking about trading Patrick Surtain to literally rip it to the studs.
They spent 6 picks to go out and get Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. So from a talent standpoint, it's the worst team in that division by far. And you've got Sean Payton in there, who we all respect and we all think can be really good. But outside of Drew Brees, I just think that is more of a question mark for both of those guys, because that is a tear down rebuild with a lot to prove from a quarterback that some people think is not worthy of the 12th pick. And from some people that are asking the question, is Sean Payton really the genius that some people are saying he is?
You know who would know? This is what I was teasing. You know who would know that? Would have a pretty damn good perspective on that?
Yeah.
Our guest today.
Yeah.
Joey Harrington was on the Saints 1 year with Drew Brees and Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So, and he knows Bo Nix well. So he'll be joining us at 5:30 in 2 hours to see if he agrees with you or maybe he thinks you're an idiot.
Well, again, I'm not saying that it's bad. I just think it's more. I just don't think it's the situation. Like, everyone today that I've heard is like, Bo and Sean Payton, match made in heaven. Can't, this is beautiful. Sean gets his sort of player, and for Bo Nix, he gets to work under Sean Payton, and it's like this match made in heaven. And all I'm saying is situations make quarterbacks, and situations make franchises. And I think this is a much tougher situation. Like, Chicago has never had a quarterback. But if you look at what Caleb Williams is going into and what Sean Payton is coming into with Bo Nix, and I get Eberflus and there's new OC there and at Chicago, Caleb Williams is set up to succeed a hell of a lot more than Bo Nix is going, and that's usually not the case when you're talking about the 12 pick and the number 1 overall pick.
All right, got to tell you, it was a false alarm. Damian Lillard is back in the game.
Is he moving okay?
He's a little gimpy, and
boy, it looked bad.
Yeah, he doesn't look 100, but yeah, he's taking the ball at the court here.
Yeah,
he looks pretty.
Well, you got to do something because
I think he just rolled his ankle.
Well, you're getting your ass kicked by Indiana right now.
I don't know. I'll text him.
Yeah, get Danny to
see what he
text him.
says.